In this video, I'm gonna show how to install and use Sphynx project modified files. At first, we need to extract data files into the archive from archive into our game SDK and bin folders of our engine. At first, copy and replace game sdk.dll files from bin win64 to your bin64 and another one from bin underline 64 underline release to your bin underline 64 underline release folder and replace them with previous ones and keep backup from your previous ones in maybe you need them. And then there's a scripts folder into the archive and you need to extract this scripts folder to game SDK scripts folder or scripts.paths, scripts entities vehicles implementation. There's two Lua files here, Canon and Sphynx.lua. Place them here, and there's a two XML files and place them into this XML folder. And for objects too, you need to copy objects from archive into your game SDK objects folder. There's a two folders in our objects as ships and cannons. Just replace them with your previous ones from cannons and Sphynx folder. Just drag and drop them into your desired folder. Drag and drop Sphynx folder contents into game SDK objects, Drake legacy objects Sphynx folder, and same for Canon. Replace them with Canon folder. And then when asked you for replace, click yes and replace all of them. Okay, there's a code folder into the archive. The code folder need to extract it to your engine code folder to move to code game SDK game DLL and replace everything is in archive with previous ones. Just drag and drop and replace them there. Now let's move in game. Into the game, place Sphynx from legacy entities, vehicles, Sphynx, and drag it into the level. You can see one back flag I placed into this Sphynx and converted it to cloth. But there's a problem here. When you move the flag or Sphynx moves, the simulation will push or stops until the flags become stable and stops from moving. This is engine problem and I should to fix it. You need to use component mesh component for attaching flags and sails to their desired location, because it's not possible to export a Sphynx with attached flags. They are now treated as cloth and it's not possible to export them in single mesh. After doing that, you can make a prefab from your Sphynx with all sails and you can use it in other levels easily. Just use add component and click the geometry and select mesh component. After adding it, you need to choose your desired flag file name and adjust its position by modifying translation and rotation options. Let's test it in game. I wanna use a Civor for debugging our Canon bullets. By using this Civor, you can visualize your bullet path. I created a simple follow graph for entering a player when game starts. It's important to our Sphynx has a Canon driver seat for its driver, unlike other vehicles which they have driver seat. Okay, I created a two view for it, first person and steer third person for driver seat. If you fire cannons in driver seat, all cannons is firing in their desired directions. You can see the bullet path was visualized, and you can shoot cannons one by one by pressing C button. I adjusted the steer third person and action third person camera positions and locations for first cannon from right ones, but those certain others is remained unadjusted. You need to adjust them in Sphynx XML file. I show you how to modify them and what you need to modify. Each cannon has three views: first person, steer third person, and action third person. The steer third person, in the steer third person you can rotate a camera and also adjust up and down direction. But in action third person, the camera is fixed at desired location and you can adjust up and down direction of cannons too, but you can't rotate the camera. And the first person is adjusted in back of the barrel of each cannon. This is our first person view, and this is our third person steer and action third person. For other cannon you can see it's not adjusted correctly and points to wrong location. You need to adjust the camera location and direction from this XML file and our seat names, our seat sections. For example, you can see I fixed first cannon. Our cannon is Canon R1 seat action. I adjusted the first person, steer third person, and action third person camera positions. Just you need to modify camera offset, position offset, camera aim offset, and rotation in it. You need to adjust this parameters for other canons too. Aim, offset, pivot offset, rotation max. Rotation max is adjusted. I think this is not, it's not need to adjust it. Just aim offset and pivot offset, camera position offset need to be adjusted. Just increase and or decrease these values, it will be fixed at good location. And you can see for each canon I placed in Maya, I created a seat for it and desired helpers and desired components for each canon. Each canon has several helpers for using as uh, barrel rotation helpers and player positional rotation and the weapon output position. If you want to add any canon, add more canons, you need to add desired respective helpers, respective components and seats for it. This section is for our driver view, which I placed all weapons for our cannons here. And you can see these are our cannons respected helpers. For example, cannon R1 interpose for entering in cannon mode and others. And you can see each cannon I placed in Maya has three major parts: turret and cannon base and cannon. If you add more cannons, you need to add these parts of its cannon too, and also respective helpers need to be added into a Sphynx XML file. I commented in each section. You can see that. Okay, let's move back into engine and test our cannon vehicle. Place it from legacy entities vehicles and cannon vehicle and drag it into the game and press Ctrl G. You can change the yaw and pitch rotation of your cannon with mouse by dragging left and right. Your cannon with 3 ways rotates from left and right and up and down. We have 3 views: first person, steer third person, and another one is action third person. In action third person, if you rotate a mouse, the cannon and camera will be rotated with ever. And you can drive it like normal vehicle by pressing W or S. I modified this cannon in 3D Studio Max because at the time I'm not familiar with Maya, and that was easy for me. I created several parts of cannon in order to be rotatable correctly in game. You can open the 3ds Max file and see what I done. You can see the modified Max file is is a model which I modified it and exported to engine. Okay, let's view what requirement is for installing Visual Studio and building game SDK. I installed it previously, but I want to show you what features needed. The ASP.NET and .NET MAUI is not required. These individual components will be automatically will be selected, but MFC for latest Windows will not selected automatically. You need to tick it out manually. Okay, and these Windows SDKs are required, should be ticked too. Before modifying these individual component, at first you need to select the needed workloads. .NET Desktop Development and Desktop Development with C++ and Linux Development with C++ is required workloads for building engine. .NET Desktop is not required, sorry. And you can move into CryEngine launcher, click on it and click on manage dependencies. You will see what IDEs and SDKs are required for building CryEngine by yourself. You need to install one of these versions of Visual Studio, Visual C++ distributables, and Windows SDK versions. I installed the new version of Windows SDK, so this version is not required for me, but you can install it. Okay, after installing Visual Studio and required components, we need to build CryGame SDK from scratch. As shown below, as shown you earlier, you need to place these files and replace them with your original ones I showed you before. Okay, so skip this part and let's go into code side. In game DLL files, as you see, we replaced these some files with originals. Okay, these files is CMake files and some vehicle files inside game DLL file. You can see vehicle movement canon.cpp and h file should be placed to your game SDK vehicle folder, game SDK game DLL vehicle folder, and place it here. Okay, and then there is other files with single.cpp need to be replaced by or old one, and gamefactory.cpp and cmakelist.txt. One time just you drag and drop them here, they all will be replaced. I just want to show you what is these files. Okay, after setting up properly, we need to move in our tools folder, engine tools folder, cmake, and edit the CryEngine msvc cmake file. just place an underline here. You can see, just place an underline after wx and save it again. Okay, no, move back to your root folder and run crycmake.exe. It will download required SDK files and extract them to your code folder. After that, it generates the Visual Studio solution files for building. This took some minutes, you need to wait for it. After generation done, the CMake windows will be appears, and just you need to click configure and then generate. Just click generate, it's configured already. After generation done, you can see the solutions Win64 folder and our Visual Studio solutions will appear here, and then click on open projects. It will open Visual Studio. After opening Visual Studio, you can see our project loaded here, and just right click on Game SDK and set it as a startup project in Solution Explorer. You can see our vehicle movement cannon and vehicle movement cannon.cpp appears here. Okay, and in our game factory you can see our modified C++ file include cannon movement class here and registration. Okay, build in profile mode. Click on build and build Cry Game SDK. It will take a time for building. After successful build, you need to rebuild it into release mode. Select release and just click build and build Cry Game SDK again. This will take a time too. And after this build was successful, after successful build, you will see the Crygame SDK in your output bin Win64 folder and bin Win64 release folder. Because I builded my engine into separate folder, my DLLs will appears in separate bin Win64 folders too. You can generate it in your actual engine folder, and it will automatically replace game DLLs with your previous ones. Yeah, you can see Crygame SDK called Lobby and Cry Perception System was built. We just need the Crygame SDK DLL file from Win64 folder and WinX64 release folder and replace them with your original ones. Okay, you can see I make these flags, I modified them and make them a cloth object from these flags. Okay, because when you convert an plane into merged mesh cloth, it will just renders from one side. You can see if you move your camera in other side of your cloth, it will be invisible, and for that you need to duplicate its normal and mirror them. I didn't know how to set up this in Maya and how to mirror the normals of plane and duplicate and mirror them in Maya. Because of that, I exported them to 3ds Max and duplicated their normals and mirrored them to be renderable in both sides, from front view and their back view. And this is Sphynx all-in-one. Maya file is our modified Sphynx with all canons included, but flags are not included here. There is flags here, but you need to export flags from 3ds Max file. These flags into this Maya file is not set up for cloth, as I said why. Okay, this is our Sphynx XML file, which should be placed into our scripts, entities, vehicles, implementation XML folder, as earlier I show you how to do it. And this Canon weapon is your Canon weapon. I didn't modify it, so you don't need to replace it anywhere. You can see here Sphynx sales modified max file. This is our modified sales and flags, which I exported them to max, 3ds Max, and mirrored their normals and duplicated them. If you want to re-export them, you need to export from this 3ds Max file. I just exported them with my system.